So the aspect of pietism that I'm focused, because it had some good stuff. What I'm focusing on is more of the personal, individualistic aspect of Christianity, and just focusing on like me, my heart, my walk with Christ, which is important, but it's to lead to something else, right? It's not to just end there. And so you see more of like the retreatist aspect that you see with some pietists over time, that kind of aspect. And so then I really wanted to go, okay, how do I how do I figure out how we got here? Because if I can figure out how we got here, that's going to help me be able to identify errors as they pop up. So like the Anabaptism that's there, and then surprisingly papism that you see creeping in too. And so you have some legalism, you have Anabaptism, you have some pietism, and you have some papism. You have a little bit from each one of these things all kind of converging together and making this kind of a person. And then, over time, reading through the Puritans, I fell in love with the Puritans before seminary and really started digging in a lot more after seminary when I had time to choose what I got to read. Seeing how they handled scripture in a lot of ways was really encouraging, because they could take the significance of a passage and say, look at all these different ways it applies, and this is how it applies in this area and in this area and in this area. That was so helpful. And so learning from them, and then learning from Bavinck and then Kuyper, and kind of like tracing that through, I'm starting to see the robustness and practicality of theology. So really the sufficiency of scripture in a very practical way. The spheres of authority was huge. The three uses of the law was huge. And so all of that's kind of framing things. And then I'm reading Schaeffer, and Schaeffer is taking a lot of that theology and applying it to culture and history and saying like, hey, here's how we got here. Here's what we need to do to remedy this. And we've got guys in our camp that are taking it's like latent antinomianism, or it's all going to burn anyway. And so what's the point? It's like, well, you don't live your life that way in every other area. That's just like something that you're using in your head with a quick little argument to disobey the commands of God. Like, it's the same kind of thing if we put it in a different category. You're going to be holy as God is holy. That will happen because Christ will glorify us. So what's the point? Why shouldn't we just continue in sin that grace may abound?
Mm-hmm.
So it's that kind of thinking, and they're saying, okay, within the sphere of the church and for the individual Christian, we shouldn't do that. But it's okay to do that in these other spheres. And so seeing the number of people that like this, people that I know that like what Don Green is espousing in this, and hoping also like, hey, maybe he's just needs a little push and a little correction, some brotherly love on that, like we all need at times. I decided to think through this and to write something out and to use what he's espousing that so many people seem to be agreeing with, that is doctrinally false, as a springboard to go, okay, let's tear down what's there. It's like presuppositional apologetics, right? Let's tear down what's there that's wrong, and then let's build up what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.